So you need not to worry. What why I'm saying is, see, we have this. All the commands are given here, and we'll be having an exercise. Okay, so via
Okay.
editor, everything is given in the notes. This is always available. It is kind of a wiki link. It is freely available on the internet.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, so the most important part, the user management. Okay, so we'll learn how to manage users and groups and some permissions as well if time permits. Otherwise, we'll do permissions tomorrow.
So, Prayag,
Yes.
before go to the users, okay. Suppose we have two servers, right? I want to copy something from one server to another server.
Okay.
Okay.
For that, we'll have to use SCP command. Okay. SCP means secured copy. It is done over SSH. Okay. So what I'll have to do is we don't have one more machine here, but SCP I want to copy which file I have. File1.txt. We'll use SCP command file1.txt. Destination IP address 192.168.1.11 itself. It will work on the
Mhm.
same system as well, and /tmp means in which directory want to copy it. If I do scp now, it is asking for the password. This is my own system. Okay. I'll just say yes. Okay, I know my password. Okay, so it happened on the my own system, but instead of 11, if you type 12 and if that system is there, it will copy that file to that particular directory.
So you can use mine, suppose.
No, but if you have a public IP, then I can use your IP address. Otherwise, I cannot.
Okay.
Okay, this will work over the private IPs only.
Private APIs only.
Yeah, if I know your public IP, then I can do for public IP as well. But the command is same: SCP secured
SCP.
copy from source to the destination. So if I go to /tmp now on my own system, I have this file1.txt.
And directory also can copy
Yeah, just add -r to it
hyphen R.
recursively. Yeah,
Okay, recursive.
whenever it is directory, just use -r. So I have an means what I do is, even for file sometimes I'll be using r. So even we need to just remember one thing: for copying, cp-r or scp-r file or a directory.
Got it.
So when we did the installation, and when I did the installation, we need to pass the username and password. Okay, so at that time I provided this my username Prayag. Okay, and that's why whenever we log in, we'll be getting our home directory. Okay, so if you do pwd, I'm in my home directory. So whenever a new user is created, okay, in a home directory there will be home directory that for that particular user. So uh, when we started installation, this user was created. Now to create a new user on this system, we need admin level privileges. So one of the method would be do sudo su. This means become a super user. And I'm able to become a super user because at the time of installation, it made me a super user automatically. I don't have to make it explicitly a super user. Okay, so I can use sudo su. Sudo su means I can become a root. This is one of the method. Then if I do user add, I can create a new user. But in a production environment, you will never have the root password. Okay, and even the login using root password is disabled at most of the time, at most of the places. So if I try to log in from this console, okay, I don't even have the root password because at the time of installation it didn't set the password for root user. So even by default the root user login is disabled for security purposes. So we'll have to do everything using our normal user. So how to distinguish between a normal user and a super user? So for super user, most of the times it will be dollar. For a normal user it will be dollar, and for super user you will see here hash. Okay, and one more command to see whether I am a super user or not, just do id. So when we did id, it is showing my uid is 1000. So every user will have a uid, user id, a group id. It will be part of some groups. Okay, so my uid is 1000, my gid is 1000. Okay, and I'm part of a group called my name itself. So whenever a user is created in a linux, a group with same name will also be created. Okay, so that's why I have a user and a group with the same name. Now anything below 1000, okay, is a system user, and anything above 1000 is a user which we created. So for a super user, what is the id? Let's check it. So root is a system user. So if I do id, it is having 0. 0 means it is a super user, and if it is not 0, it is not a super user. So 1000 is not 0, that's why it is not a super user. And we can only a super user can create a user. Even in windows, administrator only can create any other users. Similarly in linux as well, we can create user only from a user which has sudo rights. Sudo right means it has an admin level privileges. So one of the method, as I said, is sudo su. Just do user add new user. This is one of the method, but as I said, it is not recommended to use root user. We should always work using normal user. So what I'll do is I'll just do user add. Okay, tom. Okay, so what it is saying is permission denied. Why permission denied? Because I'm a normal user, I'm not a super user. So what I have to do is I'll have to add a sudo to it. We'll have to prefix that with sudo. So sudo means just run admin level privileges using sudo. Now I can create it. But why I am a sudo user? Not every user which will be creating will be a sudo user automatically. At the time of installation, it made me a super user because it needs one user which has all the privileges, right? At the time of installation, that's why I am a super user. I created a user now. Now, when a user is created, we can check this file slash etc passwd. In this file, if at the end we can see a tom user is created. Earlier using root user, we created new user. Okay. So tom user is created and it has a uid 1002. It has a gid 1002. Whenever a user is created, a group with same user with same name will also be created. So tom user has 1002 uid and 1002 gid, and the home directory slash home slash tom. Okay, so it will give the path of the home directory here. And the shell, there are various types of shell in linux. One of them is sh, then we have bash, then we have csh, ksh. Okay, but most of the times we'll come across sh and bash. There is some difference between each, but that's not so important. Okay, so I have shell as sh, and this is my home directory. So at the time of creating user itself, we can change some of the parameters. Suppose I don't want the default uid and default gid, we can change that. I do not want that my home directory should be created only under home. I want some other path, that is also possible. And suppose I don't want a user to have shell as sh but bash, that is also possible. So next we will see that. So instead of creating a new user, I can modify existing users contents, means parameters. So first, to log in as a tom user, I need to set a password for it. Okay, so what I'll do is passwd tom. I'll just press enter. Okay, Why? Because I have not used a sudo before it. With sudo, I can set the password. I'll set it as same Tom. Okay. So now the password is set for a Tom user. What I'll do is I'll go to putty. I'll load this my IP address of the VM. Just do open and I'll just enter username Tom and password is also Tom. Okay. So I have logged in, and if you see, could not change to this directory. Why? When we create a new user in Ubuntu, until and unless we explicitly give an option called -m, it will not create its home directory. So in this case, it has not created his home directory. Okay, it is going to slash by default. Okay, so next what we will do is we'll set the home directory for a user. Okay, or at the time of installation itself, if I use -m option, we can do that. So now what we'll do is there is one more command called user mod. Okay, I'll modify user. Which user? Tom user. I want to change its shell. So I'll do s/bin bash. Okay. So if you see here, the shell for Tom user is sh. Just do user mod -s, whatever shell we want, and just press enter. Again, add sudo to it. Now just do cat/etc passwd. Its shell is changed from sh to bash. And what I'll do is I'll just log out and log in again. Tom. Okay. So again, we haven't changed this home directory, but we'll do that. So earlier I was getting only dollar, and now I'm getting properly this. This is possible only with bash. If it is not bash, I'll see only dollar here, and other method would be echo dollar shell. So there is system variable which gives the values. Okay, so the value of the shell is bash. So I'm in a bash shell. Now if I want to change the home directory as well to home Tom, so let's go to home directory, and if I see there is no Tom directory. Okay, so what I'll do is mkdir Tom. Okay, permission denied. So I'll just add sudo to it. Okay, now the home directory is created, but this we created manually. Now again I'll set the home directory as using user mod. So for setting home directory, -d option we use home Tom. cat/etc passwd. The entry was already there. Okay, but the directory was not there. So that's why I said no changes. Now I'll just log out and log in again. Tom. Okay, just to pwd, and we can see we have a home directory. There was no warning now. So what we learned is user add command to create a user mod to modify some of its parameters. Okay, and the next command which we will see is user del. Okay, user del, new user. Just log out. Okay, again add sudo to it. We have deleted a new user. Just cross check into /etc passwd. There is no user now, and similarly delete Tom. Okay, so we have deleted Tom user as well. Now let's add one more user add. I'll add sudo to it. User add, we have to add user as John. So let's change some of the parameters. the will add hyphen m. By default, it gives bin sh shell will give bin bash to it. So just press enter. Just to cat slash etc pass wd. Okay, so it created home directory. It is bin bash now. So only change was we added hyphen s, and if we add hyphen m, it will also create its home directory. On some of the other flavors like on Red Hat, we don't have to use hyphen m, it automatically creates the home directory, but in Ubuntu we have to explicitly give hyphen m option. Now if you see ls, the John directory is also created. Okay. Now just set a password for user John, pass wd John. I'll set it as John. Okay. Now if I go here and to open John. Okay. So properly I'm logged in. So what I said earlier was that whenever we create a user, it creates a group as well with same name. Okay, we are able to see UID 1001 here and 1001 GID. Okay, but where is the group? So we can check the group in /etc/group. So here is the John user and it is the GID. Here it will only show user and its GID, the group ID. Cross check it with cat slash etc pass wd. So this is my GID. So whenever we create a user, a group with same name will also be created, but it is also possible to create our own group. So the command would be group add developers. So we can have a separate group for developers. Just add sudo to it. Group add developers. Just check cat slash etc group. So a developers group is created which has a GID 1002. But remember, whenever we create a group, it will not create a user with that name. Okay, there is no group with developers here. But yes, but whenever we create a user, a group with same name will be created. But vice versa, it's not possible. So we can also add some users into group. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create one user. Okay, it will be James. Okay, I'll do -g that add this user to a group called developers. Okay, we'll add -m option so that a home directory is created, and we'll change the shell to bin bash. By default it is sh, and just press enter. Okay, so what we have done is we added James user in a group called developers. Okay, now how to check that? Cat slash etc group. Okay, so this is the developers group, and inside that we have a James user. And if I do cat slash etc pass wd, I cannot see it here, but here if you see it is 1003. And why 1003? So what happened here is when we created a user, it created a user with UID 1002. It also created a group, okay, with the same name. Whenever a user is created, a group with the same name will also be created, which has a GID 1003, and we made it part of a developers group which has a GID 1002. So it is a part of its own group and developers as well. So here it shows the primary group. So its primary group is James and the secondary group is developers. So hyphen G in uppercase will make it a part of a primary secondary group, and if I add a lowercase hyphen G, it will make it a part of a primary group. So this was all about user add, group add, user del, and similarly we can delete group as well using group del.
So Rohit, I have a query here.
Yeah.
So if I have to create another user,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to check the which group he is assigned to.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose James is already created and I want
Mm-hmm.
to create some another username called Jojo,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to check what is the user group of the James. So
Mm-hmm.
can we directly create the user Jojo based on the James?
Based on the James means.
I mean, by just assigning the James group ID 1003, can we create the another user?
Yeah, yeah. So what I'll do is user add Jojo, okay, and you want to make it a part of James group, right?
Correct.
Let's check that. Hyphen G James. Just press enter. It has done that because whenever this name exists, right? So group
Mhm.
is there. User is created James at the same time. Group is also created James. Now Jojo is part of a James user as well. Just cross check it. So again what it has done is it has created one more group with the same name, and Jojo is also part of a James group.
Okay, so if James is a developer,
Mhm.
so Jojo is also the developer, right?
Right. But
Okay.
as of now, Jojo is just a user. Yeah, as James is also a developer, now Jojo is also part of that group.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I just wanted to check that. Thanks.
No, no, just a minute. James is a part of developers, but Jojo is not. Why? Because James is a separate group. There is no similarity between both.
Okay.
Okay. So when we check about the tomorrow we'll be seeing about the permissions. Okay.
Okay.
So quickly I'll tell you ls hyphen if I create a directory mkdir dir11, if I do ls hyphen ld dir11, so here this dir11 is owned by user this and group is this. Okay.
Mhm.
So what I'll do is I'll just change the ownership ch own. The ownership of this will be uh, James, because James is a part of a developer, and it will be a part of, and the group will be developers. And just to dir11. Okay. Now if you see properly, so the owner of dir11 is James, eh? And group is developers. Okay. So if you see Jojo, Jojo is not part of developers. So on this directory, the developers cannot work. The developers means Jojo cannot work because he is not part of a developer.
Okay. So we have to explicitly apply the developers group
Yeah,
on Jojo.
yeah. Developer, we need to add this Jojo into the developers group.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that we have that exercise tomorrow. Okay, so that's it for today.